Voice of the people. Now you have a voice.
You can take the boy out of radio, but you can't take the radio out of the boy, can you?
Broadcasting in high definition.
Voice of the people. 96.1 FM.
Baide.
Inakwana.
Good morning.
Ilahiala.
Ekaro. Obohia.
Good morning.
Mewo.
Edio.
Tutuama.
Keideo.
Good morning. Rise and shine. This is the morning ride. We have got an action-packed day ahead with headlines, sports, business, great conversation. Start your day right with VOP's morning ride. Weekdays from 5 a.m. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning to you and welcome to Front Page Review right here on Voice of the People 96.1 FM. Good morning once again. My name is Gesiere Agua. Today is the 7th of March 2024. You're welcome to the show. It's another beautiful day and we're going to begin with Who Said What? We're checking out some of the leading stories in the news, trying to find out who said what in some of them. Apologies for not bringing the show yesterday. We had a little bit of challenges here and there, but hey, we're here and we're back, we're better. So thank you so much for always keeping it locked right here on VOP 96.1 FM. All right, yesterday videos were pouring in about some of the messages that came in during the tribute to Herbert Wigwe. A lot of people had messages coming in, and first is the Emir Sanusi, who said that he was thinking he would die and leave Herbert Wigwe here alive. Let's listen to what he had to say.
I was thinking I would die and leave Herbert.
You can tell that, he broke down and he just couldn't, say anything at that point in time. Well, the funeral ceremony for the late group managing director and CEO of Access Bank, Herbert Wigwe, has continued with nights of tributes at Victoria Island, Lagos. Now, activities leading to his burial started on Monday with a ceremony tagged Herbert Wigwe celebrating professional excellence. He, alongside his wife and son, died in a helicopter crash on Friday, February 9th, 2024 in the United States on his way to attend the Super Bowl championships in Las Vegas. Well, tributes have been pouring in and we just checked out Emir Sanusi's message. The VP, Vice President Kashim Shettima, was also in attendance as well, and he said a fading fragrance of a garden that touched lives beyond its borders. This is what he said about Herbert Wigwe.
Herbert left us in winter, far away from home. Herbert left us before the season of bloom. Spring was just to arrive at his last location, the United States, when the Lord called for him. But spring is not the symbol of Herbert's bloom. His journey was defined by peculiar seasons. He bloomed long before his co-travelers. So this spring for us isn't the spring of festive flowers, It is the season of rest. This spring for us isn't a season of tears. It is a celebration of Harvard's flight to a height that only a few of God's chosen ones have attained. I feel privileged to be here today to share in the memories of Harvard and the pillars of his home that left with him. Only 15 days separated Harvard's birth from mine. He's a friend, a brother, a contemporary. I feel honored to partake in celebrating the divine miracle that was Harvard's life.
All right, well, that was the VP, Kashim Shettima, right there, giving his own tribute to Herbert Wigwe. In a funny turn of events yesterday, Showore and the new lawyer Deji Adeyanju and his friend Showore, rather, in a heated argument, were found in a heated argument with the EFCC security guards over their refusal to allow them take a photo of their headquarters here in Jabi. It was a very, very hilarious exchange. Let's listen to what happened right there.
What is he talking about? Which EFCC? Which job? Which job you won't buy? Which job is that? Which job? We don't come and go and begin the talk. Which job? It's not the public building. What they talk about? Not the public building. It's not a public building. Is it not a public building? What is he talking about? Which EFCC? Which job? Which job? You know, they do wait for people there outside. We already obsessed. We dey pass. Now they look for our problem. We dey pass. We got to be obsessed with the position. We dey pass with the operation. People not to pass. Which kind of that? What's the concern you with us? We dey pass. We enter on our office. What's wrong with you? We are not professional at all. No, that's wrong what you were saying. Start harassing people because you carry gun. He told him that he cannot just a pass. This man talk saying you don't go do it. It's not a public building. He cannot take picture of EFCC. It's not a public building. He said you go buy job if you take picture of EFCC. You have no business. People chairman of EFCC don't talk that one. Better. Thank you. Because they just give a gun and not begin to oppress people again. It's okay now. No, what do you mean? Stop, scatter. Yes. What do you mean it's okay? We have to let them know now that this is wrong. The problem with the office that we're going to carry gun. So I'm trying to say that you guys are already obsessed with power and it's stupid for you to be harassing people. Who are working there, coming from a law program. Innocently. Yes. Yes, that's the point I'm making. And if you are not satisfied with it, I will go inside and see Allah now. That is stupid of you, EFCC to be harassing people on the road. Are you Mopo? Even Mopo? Yes, educate him. Educate yourself. And stop disrespecting people.
Some of the reactions that have been pouring in, some people said, wow, Deji is now a lawyer. Them go hear what. Some people have said Deji and Showore be like Aki and Popo. This is hilarious. Anyway, it's wrong to be antagonizing, uniformed men at this point in time because they're on their own and you went ahead to antagonize them. Well, that's pretty much what exactly happened yesterday. We saw one Nigerian on table tennis. This is in sports right now at the 13th African Games in Accra, ongoing at the moment. That is supposed to be held in Ghana between 8th and 23rd of March. Well, table tennis, Ofyong Edem has won Nigeria's first medal at the 13th African Games. Let's listen to what she had to say.
And I had this opportunity to play well because we were in World Championship, and this helped a lot. And I want to thank the Nigerian Federation for making that possible to go to World Championship because that served like a training tour, and that is the reason why I did very well here. The Egyptian, the reason why they are at the top, they play a lot of tournaments. We don't have that opportunity, but nevertheless, I am always very calm whenever I'm in a tournament. I don't feel stressed for anything. I just try to do my best.
Well, that was Offiong Edem telling us about some of the challenges she's faced, especially in Nigeria, especially with the games and all that. Hopefully, this torchlights some of the issues that we're facing here, and we're able to bring our sports to a certain level that we can compete on international standards. Well, at 7:30 we'll be joined by El-Rufai Saini. I'll go ahead and take a break, pay some bills, and then we'll come back with front page review proper. We'll be checking out some of the headlines in the newspapers this morning, going across Punch, Vanguard, This Day, all across all the newspaper platforms to check out what is in the news for us this morning. Keep it locked.
As a sharp business owner, you know you need to advertise your business, right? You need the adverts. So, what better platform to advertise than with VOP 96.1 FM? Our rates are friendly, our reach extensive. Take that bold step and advertise that business today. Give us a call on 081-799-29729 or visit our office at number 4 Ogbomosho Street, Romeo's Pizza Building, Area 8, Abuja. See ya!
We have been serving you hot and fresh content on radio, and you have been loving it. Now we're taking it further. Catch us live on YouTube at BOP TV for all the juicy content you can't resist. Talk shows, exclusive interviews, news, lifestyle, and more. It's all about you. BOP TV, show up, speak up.
Family Live, a family-friendly program focusing on raising healthy families, dads, moms, and children. Listen to Family Live with the Family Man, Reverend Simon Asemota, Saturdays at 8 a.m. Exclusive to VOP 96.1 FM. Now you have a voice. Now you can enjoy the original taste of premium American Romeo's Pizza. Juicy, just the way you like it. To order online from Guarimpa, call 090-8831-5908. Gariki 090-8831-5906. And Lupe 090-9238-9861. Romeo's Pizza, the pizza champions.
Coming in hot, just like the fajita.
Are you traveling to Lagos and desire a perfect getaway?
Look no further than the luxurious accommodations at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, number 42 Murtala Mohammed International Road, Lagos.
Relax and unwind in our beautiful appointed rooms, featuring all the amenities you need for a comfortable stay.
Now, whether you are traveling for business or pleasure, our attentive staff is here to ensure that your every need is met. We also offer complimentary pickup and drop from the Lagos Airport.
Why not take advantage of our state-of-the-art fitness center, outdoor pool, and enjoy a delicious meal at our on-site restaurant?
With stunning views, world-class service, and a prime location, Airport Golden Tulip Hotel is the perfect choice for your next vacation or business trip.
So why wait? Book your stay today and experience the ultimate in comfort and luxury at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel.
For bookings and reservations, please call 0815-8003-333 or 0815-7003-333. You can visit our website at airportgoldentuliphotel.com.
Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, where luxury meets comfort.
It's thrilling, controversial, heated, thought-provoking. Catch Rufai Oseni.
Came here to misrepresent the facts today as regards subsidy removal.
Kesire Agua.
Report was that $9 billion is lost yearly to illegal mining.
And Simeon Sunday.
If you know something of this nature is happening within your community, why didn't you raise an alarm?
On the Front Page Review, weekdays at 7:15 a.m. Now you have a voice.
Good morning to you and welcome to Front Page Review on Voice of the People 96.1 FM. My name is Gesire Agua. Good morning once again. And know that we are live on YouTube at Voice of the People 96.1 FM, Voice of the People Abuja. Go ahead and join our live feed, Voice of the People Abuja. That is on YouTube. On WhatsApp, you can send in a WhatsApp message to 0700 010 961 961. Go ahead and send us a WhatsApp message. My WhatsApp line is 0700 010 961 961. Join the conversation. I'll be reaching out to Rufai Oseni in just a moment, but we're checking out different headlines this morning, cutting across Punch, Vanguard, This Day newspaper, Leadership, and a couple of others as well. In the news this morning, we're having 24 states saying that they can't pay salaries without federal government allocation. 24 states can't pay salaries without federal government allocations. Good morning to you, Rufai, and welcome.
Bless you. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you so much. All right, jumping into it, we're having 24 states of the Federation who won't be able to pay workers' salaries this year without having to wait for federal allocations from the central government. This is according to newsmen. And Mr. Rufai, just how deplorable is this situation?
But guess with due respect, that's not a story as far as I'm concerned, because we all know that most of the states are not viable. In fact, we've talked ad nauseum as regards the states not being viable, how they always go cap in hand. And what most of even the governors do that saddens me is the fact that they are one of the culprits in this dollar situation. Because when they get their allowance, they convert the money to USD, and they also put heightened pressure on the foreigns. So we have always said it. And it's not today. If you remember, when President Boy just came in, he had to give most states bailouts to be able to pay salaries. If you remember the Buhari bailouts for salaries. So, also, there are many states that were paying half salary, quarter salary, whatever salary. I think Kogi was one of them under Yaya Bello then. I think at some point, Kwara too was on that regime and all of that. So, we all know that they are not viable. So, as far as I'm concerned, this is something we know already. Then the question is, how can these governors make this state center of excellence? Because there's so much resource in these states, and all they just need to do is to harness this resource. But you know, we have been fortunate, we have been unfortunate to have a very unfortunate and bad leaders. That's the problem with Nigeria.
Rufai, is there a situation, is there a problem with what the Constitution says? Is there some contingencies, some constraints, especially on the governors themselves, to make it impossible for them to generate revenue? Maybe something like mineral resources.
There's no constraint. Yes, you don't even need to generate revenue through mineral resources under your ground. Make your state an attractive investment hub. Forget it. How many mineral resources does Lagos have? Anyway, Lagos has the adjacency of being hitherto capital. It's closer to the ports, and most of the top establishments are here. But can't you make your own state a hub? Make your state a hub for the revenue generation. You don't even need mineral under your ground. Equip your people. The greatest mineral resource, the greatest resource in the world is brain resource, brain power. Equip the brain resource. Let your state be a tech hub. Let it be an innovation hub. Turn your universities into little Silicon Valleys. Bring investor capital. That's just it. So there's so much that can be done. We are not just thinking of it. So the fact that we run to mineral resources because we don't have the capacity to think. And when you don't think, you don't move forward. And that's why we're not moving forward as a nation.
In the first half of 2023, we saw state governments borrowing 46.17 billion from 3 banks just to pay salaries between January and June 2023. At this
How
point
will
in
they
time,
not borrow when they don't have the capacity to think? How will they not borrow when they don't have the capacity to think? That's just it. And also, some of these states has a bloated system, and even the money they pay, most of them can't even pay the minimum wage because again they are not thinking. Most of the states, the civil service, are not fit for purpose. The governors are not thinking. It doesn't have to be mineral resource. There are agricultural prospects. There are many things. Each state has land. I mean, you hear the governor of Niger saying the other day, that it was indeed a shame that Ukraine was giving us grain because Niger alone is close to 70,000 square kilometers of land. And they can plant a lot of grains out of it. They can plant a lot of things. There's agricultural prospect, there's industrial prospect. So, but if you don't focus on all of those things, you will not get the much needed resource. So you need to be able to attract investors. It's a hard work. You need to be able to raise capital. Capital will only go where there's creativity. Most of these states are not centers of creativity. They don't even think. And when you look at most of the quality of people that come, people that don't even have degrees, that if it was one governor they were asking, did you actually go to a university? He said the matter is in courts. Goes. Eh? So look at even the quality of selection. Very dumb head challenge. Dumb head. Pardon my French. So how do you expect them to think? It's the quality of leadership that kills this country. A nation, Darren Nosumoglu wrote a book. He said, why nations fail? And the start of the book, he said, you know what they said, why nations fail? Why nations fail? Because their leaders make them fail. The reason why Nigeria is failing is because our leaders make us fail.
all right. Let's move on to Labour. Labour has decided to slash their demands from 1 million to 500,000 naira as minimum wage. We're seeing the zonal public hearing on the new wage structure. It's beginning today, and 500,000 naira. I don't even want to begin to understand what exactly is in the minds of the leadership of the Labour to peg it at 500,000 naira. Seeing as states, governments cannot even pay what we have on ground at the moment. We're seeing them borrowing just to pay salaries.
That's not feasible. It will not work. What that 500k will also cause will be attendant inflation. If they get well over, for me, based on my calculation, if they get up to or about 100k or a little over 100k is a miracle for them. So based on the attendance inflation, forget it. That will not cut it. If they get close to 100k for minimum wage, and also that's also going to bring them about the attendance inflation. But this 500,000, 1 million naira talk, I mean, they themselves, they know they're just doing hot air. They themselves, they know they're just doing hot air. Because I keep talking historical antecedents. You remember the story of Udoji now? After Jerome Udoji's commission in 72, when he finished work in 74, and they say, okay, wage review and all of that, and they pay their rise. You can see the inflation. Inflation jumped up to about 40%. So if it gets less than 100 or a little over 100, it's going to be a miracle. At a time like this, it's minimum wage there. It's minimum wage.
El-Rufai, at this point, just how transparent is this, meeting between the federal government and, the federal government had constituted a 37-man panel to be on this new minimum wage committee and all that. But we saw the federal government, we heard rather from Joe Ajaero that the federal government was strong-arming them to stop the protest at the time. This was last week. Seeing as the federal government has already started to strong arm Labour, according to Joe Ajaero, will we see even a transparent process in these discussions about new minimum wage?
So transparency is out of the door, but they have to have a negotiation. And a negotiation sometimes bring about a lot of concessions. So the government will have to concede, Labour will have to concede and reach a fair value based on many calculations. So I want the negotiation to also be based on empiricals and scenario planning of the iteration of how much will be the eventual cost when you bump up minimum wage to 100k, 150, 200. Okay, maybe they start on 50k first. Because don't forget also that the states will have to pay that money. But I'm
exactly.
not say that they will pay that money. So if you say from 30k you want to go to 500k, that's why I say it's almost impossible. Let's not deceive ourselves. So let's say, okay, from 30K, you can do scenario buying for 50K, iteration for 50K, iteration for 100K, and extreme limit of 150K. Then you now negotiate across the band. And also, Labour too should do their homework. I don't know if Labour has a research department. They should also do their calculation scenario for that, so that you negotiate with a place of strength. So, iterations for 50K minimum wage benchmark, iteration for 75K minimum wage benchmark, iteration for 100K minimum wage benchmark, probably iteration for 120K minimum wage benchmark, and extreme values of 150. Then they have a middle ground, then they find a bigger range. So let the calculation too also be based on empirical, not just some whimsical numbers and calling figures in the air. And also they calculate for attendant inflation.
All right, let's move on to recent attacks in Benue State. About 30 people have been killed in Benue fresh attack, and the Senate is set to meet Tinubu, on this particular line of discourse. Now, Mr. El-Rufai, while we're doing whatever it is that we're doing, people are dying. People are dying. While whatever it is that we're doing, whether it's playing politics or playing to the gallery, whatever it is, human beings are dying. Is it that now we do not prioritize, we no longer prioritize the value of human life in Nigeria?
With due respect, I don't think we do any longer in Nigeria. It's become so, brutish and common that I don't think we do. For the first time, I even agree with Akpabio. Akpabio said something very profound. I said, Akpabio was saying, and this kind of killing is going on, and the governor is not even vocal about it. I mean, Autumn was way vocal, and kudos to Autumn. And he was saying, so the governor was not even vocal about it. Is that the case? And that's what we should do. We should be vocal about it. I know a lot of people thought earlier was going to change everything, but it's just so sad. And after the meeting with the president, I want us to have a resolution. It's not just meeting with the president. I want us to have a resolution and know a way forward. Know a way forward, and that's where we want to go.
All right, Mr. El-Rufai, let's move on to Edo State. We have to touch it a little bit before you go. What exactly do you make of the development by the Edo State Assembly to...
No, I don't think it's right to try to twist Tribal because he tried running. If you have a court case with Tribal is trying to defend the fact that his candidate based on the old primary elected, which the party has ratified. I think once the party has picked somebody, then the party has picked somebody. But Shoaibu, I don't think it's now best to now say you want to impeach him. A man has a right to his ambition. Trump has a right to his ambition. Yeah, you might have agreed, you might have shared a lot in common before, but you shouldn't now say you want to just kick him out like that because, a man has a right to his ambition. So, but let's see how the process pans out. Tribal is waiting to be served. I'll see if I can drag him on this dial and see the conversations we can have. But let them play softly. I keep telling politicians, power is transient, nothing lasts forever.
Rufai, have we ever seen a situation where an individual who has tried to step out from under the umbrella, for lack of a better word, a politician who tries to step out from under the umbrella of the governor or his quote-unquote godfather, and have we ever seen that person succeed? We've seen past antecedents. We've seen it in Lagos State. We saw what played out. We've seen it also in Rivers State. We've seen it in in different forms, in different states. Is this something that, I don't know, is it a problem in Nigeria where politicians can no longer do anything without the say-so of whoever it is, bankrolling or helping in whatever way?
It's not a big deal. Obaseki too tried to step away from a shaman. Give him his first time, and he was successful. So it's a hit or miss. You either get it or you don't get it. But life is about the risk itself. You take the risk. That's what life is all about. At some point, you will be under somebody, but at some point, you have to move on with your life and move on with your ambition. And that's just it. I'll tell you a quick story. I remember I was on a media house a couple of years ago. In fact, I was telling someone that story this morning. And for me, I wanted to do all of the things, and I felt there was so much in me I could give to the world. And they were trying to stifle me, and they gave me an ultimatum: either you pick us or you pick other platforms. And I said, no, you know what? I'm going to do me. So I said I will have to leave. And they were very hostile towards me and everything. But many years down the line was the best decision that I left. If I had not left, I would not be able to co-found VOP today, which my greatest joy is that gives other people the platform to be able to express their joys and their feelings and their hopes and aspirations. So life is about taking risks. That time it felt like hell on earth and all of that. We went through a lot, but I stuck with my guns. And today, the same people that treated me shambolically were our competitors today. Because they said I should leave their radio platform doesn't mean they said I should leave life. So you have to do you. A man has a right to the ambition and aspiration. And people that truly care about you should respect that sometimes. They're never going to be somewhere forever. And that's why I don't try to twist people and force them when they want to move on with their lives. So everybody has something they're made on earth for. So I think at some point, maybe when all of this is over, I don't know if their relationship will be able to be repaired, but it's not a big deal. It's not a do or that. It's just politics in the end. And it will come and it will go. But human beings and the furtherance of humanity will remain.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. El-Rufai, for joining us this morning.
Bless you. Have a good one.
Have a good day. All right, to you listening, you have the opportunity to call, lend your voice to the conversation this morning, 0700 010 961 961, 0700 010 961 961. I'll take a break, pay some bills. I'll be joined by Larry Ogwego in just a moment. But you have the opportunity to call us and let me know what you think about any of our headlines this morning. 0700 010 961 961. Go ahead and join the live on YouTube. It is at Voice of the People Abuja. Voice of the People Abuja. Stay there. I'll pay some bills in just a moment. Voice of the People, 96.1 FM.
Whether your community likes it or not, Father Olumba has blessed you. Whether your family agrees or not.
Family Live, a family-friendly program focusing on raising healthy families, dads, moms, and children. Listen to Family Live with the Family Man, Reverend Simon Asemota, Saturdays at 8 a.m. Exclusive to VOP 96.1 FM. Now you have a voice.
Are you aware that Iruka Online Limited installed and designed a 100,000 capacity church building? Oh yeah, we are the sole distributors of global leading brands all over the world, such as Wafday Line Array, speakers and digital amplifiers, Preseno's digital mixers and studio equipment, Coswell workstations and keyboards, Fender guitars, Mapex drums, Ashdown bass combos, just to mention but a few. We offer flexible payment plan handled by our financial department with 24/7 customer care support system. You can visit our website on www.iruka.com to avoid buying fake products. You can also visit our showroom at number 36 Lagos International Airport Road beside Golden Tulip Hotel. Iruka, never settle for less.
Been serving you hot and fresh content on radio and you have been loving it. Now we're taking it further. Catch us live on YouTube at BOP TV for all the juicy content you can't resist. Talk shows, exclusive interviews, news, lifestyle, and more. It's all about you. BOP TV, show up, speak up.
Meet us on YouTube, Insta, and Twitter at Voice of the People 96.1 FM.
As a sharp business owner, you know you need to advertise your business, right? You need the adverts. So, what better platform to advertise than with VOP 96.1 FM? Our rates are friendly, our reach extensive. Take that bold step and advertise that business today. Give us a call on 081 799 29729 or visit our office at number 4 Ogbomosho Street, Romeo's Pizza Building, Area 8, Abuja. See ya!
You're welcome back. Thank you for staying tuned. This is Voice of the People 96.1 FM. It's front page review right here. And if you're just tuning in, you're welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, we'll be joined by Mr. Larry Ogoigo in just a moment. But join the conversation. It's at Voice of the People Abuja on YouTube. Voice of the People Abuja on YouTube. You can join us live. We're live on YouTube. On WhatsApp, it's at 0700 010 961 961. It also serves as our regular call line 0700 010 961 961. All right, I'll try in a moment to reach out to Larry Ogoigo, but we're checking out a couple of headlines this morning. Earlier, we're joined by El-Rufai Saini, and we checked out some of the headlines. We've checked out 24 states who can't pay salaries without federal government allocation. We're looking at the 11 states rather out of the 36 states who can pay salaries without allocations from the federal government. You're looking at Lagos, Kano, Anambra, Edo State, Enugu, Imo, Kaduna, Kwara, Osun, Ogun, and Zamfara states. These are states with robust internal revenue who can independently pay their workers' salaries without depending on federal allocations. If your state is not among these, I don't know what your governor is doing. Maybe you should be trying to ensure that they do their jobs. And maybe we also owe it to ourselves to voting the right individuals for these positions. While we're also looking at Bayelsa, Ondo, Yobe, Sokoto, Taraba, Plateau, Oyo, Niger, Nasarawa, Kogi, Kebbi, Katsina, Jigawa, Gombe, Ekiti, Ebonyi, Borno, Benue, Bauchi, Adamawa, Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Abia, and Delta. These are the states who can't pay salaries without allocations from the federal government. Good morning, Mr. Larry, and welcome.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning. So how are we doing this morning?
We're doing great. However, Labour isn't doing so great. They're saying they want to slash their demands to 500,000 naira. You know, we talked about a 1 million naira minimum wage, which is completely outrageous. If you ask anyone, you're looking at the strength of the Nigerian civil service of over how many millions of Nigerians, and you're saying the federal government should pay these individuals 1 million. 500,000, however, we're looking at, is this even possible? Does it even make sense for Labour to be asking for such?
I think Labour should be a lot more serious about this whole negotiation thing. Because starting from 1 million and going all the way down to 500,000 in one fell swoop, it makes it obvious that Labour wasn't even somewhat analytical about what they put on the table before. Of course, we all know that we can be asking for 1 million, because when you talk about minimum wage, we always focus on the government. We're also looking at the organized private sector. We are looking at minimum wage. It's not just about government. And the states are not paying 30,000 minimum wage now successfully and properly. So there is no point talking about 1 million or 500,000. We shouldn't be mentioning such figures. We should be seen to be serious. This negotiation should be research-driven. It should be reality-driven. And we should also look beyond cash. One of the things I expect Labour to be talking about when you discuss minimum wage, you also present options on the table. We are going to take 80,000 if you provide free health care, if you provide subsidized education for the children of civil servants, if you provide affordable transportation like the CNG trucks that we are talking about. We shouldn't just be talking about cash. Labour should also push the government to begin to think about giving quality life to workers. We don't have low-cost housing estates anymore. We only have private estates in Nigeria, and all the government estates that I know about are highbrow estates. We have forgotten about low-cost housing. It happened last under the Shagari regime, for all I remember, except private investments that are sponsored by parastatals and MDAs. So we need to get to that point where we don't just negotiate the cash. We also negotiate the welfare packages, the things that take the money away from the civil servant, healthcare, accommodation, transportation, feeding, and all of that. But talking about the cash itself, I don't think we should be talking about 500,000. It makes us look unserious. I mean, when you are placing a demand on the table, there are some things you say. The other part will be wondering, are you really serious? You want us to talk about this thing? Even the people who probably have some sympathy for you begin to wonder, are you serious? So I think they should come off this 100,000 thing. They should be looking at figures that are realistic, considering also that we are all hoping that the present inflation that we are dealing with will normalize. We are also hoping that it can get worse than this. So if we even benchmark the salaries against the present economic situation, we are not talking about 500,000. If we pay 500,000 today, in the next 6 months, you find out that a bag of rice may become 300,000, which means you have still wasted your time. I think they should be realistic. They should sit down, conduct research, present facts on the table, look at what the average family is spending, look at how government can make life better in terms of giving affordable services to civil servants, look at what certain privileged persons are earning, what are the salaries of people who work in certain MDAs, what do they earn at central bank. There are some institutions where the security man earns more than the head of another institution, and they all go to the same market. So these things shouldn't be just rhetoric. You just wake up for the purpose of talking. You say, I want 1 million. Then after a few, you say, okay, you can give me 500 now. We are not in a local market now. We are not selling crayfish here. We are negotiating the future and destiny of people and the nation. So I think Labour should be more serious.
All right, let's move on to Edo State. I mean, we just have to touch it. It's really important. We're seeing the Edo State government, Edo State Assembly rather, moving to impeach the VP. This is just because of a clash between the governor, the deputy governor rather, pardon me. So we're seeing a clash between the governor and the deputy governor. And, you know, at this point in time, some people are saying, can't a deputy governor step out of the shadows of the governor without the governor feeling threatened? After all, isn't it about the people? And some other individuals are saying you cannot bite the hands that feed you, you know. So where do you stand?
The truth is that it's not about a feeding program now. We're not talking about soup kitchens here. We need to define politics and leadership properly. I think our politicians do not even understand the concept of politics and why they should be thinking about providing leadership, doing succession planning, empowering people, and not just trying to grab power and influence and money for the purpose of perpetuating their relevance. One of the things that I find very, very difficult to understand is how ineffective and compliant our houses of assembly have become. They have become willing tools in the hands of governors. Before now, they were, like some people say, rubber stamps, and they are gradually moving to becoming automatic stamps. I do not think impeachment should be used for political vendetta. Not just that I do not think. It is inappropriate. It shows the quality of men and women we have in the House of Assembly, where when a governor gets upset, he wants to impeach the deputy, and they agree, they comply. It makes our democracy the laughing stock of the global democratic experiment, where people get upset, and they ask them, okay, impeach my deputy so that I'll get another person. a lot of these impeachments have also been upturned by courts. So sometimes they know that even when they impeach their deputies, they know that they did the wrong thing. The courts will upturn eventually reverse the impeachment, but they don't even care. They just use impeachment as political vendetta. And we need to begin to have a political memory. One of the reasons people do this since I get away with it is because our own thinking is very immature when it comes to politics and leadership. People are saying, biting the finger that fed you. Fed him how? I know how Shuaib stood by this man when they were fighting their own erstwhile godfather. And it's not about feeding him. They were supposed to be partners. Whatever you did for him, the man also made contributions one way or the other. And you don't stifle him. You don't stifle him. He has a right to aspire. That is what democracy is about. If the people want you, you have a right to aspire. You should allow him to come to the pitch of play. If you defeat him, he goes home. If he defeats you, you go home. That is the ideal that we call democracy, not a situation where the boss feels so threatened that he begins to look for all kinds of tools to suppress and oppress the people from aspiring to higher positions. It is unfortunate. We need to have a memory in this country. We need to get to that point where we tag people. We don't forget easily, where we know that certain people are not healthy for democracy. It's because politicians do these things and get away with it, and tomorrow they come and make fancy speeches and we listen to them, that they continue behaving like that. A politician who cannot allow free and fair competition is not supposed to be in a democratic setting. The person should be a dictator somewhere. And because we are not practicing dictatorship, we don't want such people in the political space. Unfortunately, we say things like, you don't bite the finger that fed you. If the finger that was feeding you sometime decides to choke you, you can put your hand in my mouth with intent to choke me, I will bite you. Why not? So I think we need to get to that point where we remove all these funny street sentiments from leadership. I mean, if you feed me, then you're feeding me to grow, not feeding me to a point they want to now took me and make me stunted all over. It doesn't work that way. I'm not a slave. I'm supposed to be a free-thinking Nigerian who can have any aspiration as long as it's legitimate. And that's what Shuaib is doing. I think we need to stop politicians from using impeachment as a tool of intimidation and oppression. We should stop it.
All right, we're moving on to the CBN, and Wale Edun has said something. He said CBN printing of the 22 trillion naira under Buhari, it's what fueled this inflation that we're facing at the moment. And he talked about the fact that the Ways and Means overdraft for the federal government from 2015 to 2023 under the former administration is what threw the country into the current inflation. Just how true is that? Because if we're looking at the country from Goodluck's time into Muhammadu Buhari's time, we could already see some permutation. Some economists had started permutating that if we do not curtail some of the issues that we're facing, such as debt management and all that, then we would be moving into serious inflation.
I think part of the problem we have is that we focus on excuses rather than providing solutions. I'm not as interested in whether it is true as I am in the fact that when you campaign and you say you want to lead a nation or a state or wherever, and you win the election, what you should do is to focus on solving the problems, not shifting blames and explaining to us that Buhari did this or that. You knew that Buhari was doing those things when you wanted to be president. As a matter of fact, any right-thinking person aspiring to a position should also conduct research. I mean, promises should be research-based. There are some things you may not know, no matter how much research you conduct, until you come into the seat, the position. But when you come in there, you should have your thinking cap on. You should have a team. And once you begin to give us excuses, I begin to have the impression that you are not able to grapple with the situation. I even begin to wonder if you are qualified for that position. What you should do is to give us solutions, not explain to us that what Buhari did is your problem. And this is exactly the same thing Buhari was telling us. He was singing this song consistently. Oh, that is what PDP did, that they did it for decades. That's why he can't do much. And then now, it's not PDP to APC anymore. This is APC to APC. And you are still telling us that what Buhari did is what is affecting you now. Your job is to undo what Buhari did and do better. not to explain to us why what Buhari did is choking you. I think we need to stop listening to these excuses. We should just place a demand on people who campaign to lead us, who gave us the impression that they have the magic wand, that we fix Lagos so we can fix Nigeria. And so now it's time to fix Nigeria. I don't want to get excuses about Nigeria being too big, being too diverse, about what Buhari did or didn't do. My expectation is that since you say you won the election and you are now Mr. President, your aides and yourself should give us the solutions, not give us excuses. Excuses don't cut it. I don't want to focus on whether Buhari caused the problem. The truth is that if you want to look at that argument, it means you have to go back to decades, because the problem didn't even start with Buhari. It didn't start with Jonathan. It didn't start with Obasanjo. So what we are looking for is a visionary leader who will forget what happened in the past, to the extent a person doesn't want to use them for excuses. Not that you forget it in terms that you discountenance them, but you don't focus on using them for excuses. You focus on solving them. These are the kind of leaders we need in Nigeria. We don't need leaders who keep reminding me that Buhari did this, Jonathan didn't do that. They have done what they did. They made their mistakes. You are here to correct them. So why don't you just get on with it and correct the mistake and stop telling us stories that make us begin to wonder? People like me, when you give me too many excuses, I wonder if the job is too big for you, actually. Let us cut out the excuses and get on with the job. They made the mistakes. Mr. Cardoso, fix it. That's why you're there.
All right. Well, let's move on to the FCT. I know you're not here, but definitely you'd understand some of the sentiments of a lot of Nigerians at this point. The Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, has vowed to end open grazing within the Abuja city. Now, this is some issue that we have faced for years in Nigeria, especially in Abuja. You move in the middle of the central business district and you see cattle rearers with their cattle moving within the capital, like in the middle of the city. So Wike has said that he had initiated discussions with different relevant and critical stakeholders on the need to end cattle rearing in the city. Do you think this is something that is even possible? Looking at the fact that we're already seeing herders clashes here and there in some parts of the north.
It is possible. The problem we have is that we pretend that we can't make progress with things because they have been there for too long. But then the fact that they have been there for too long doesn't mean that we can't stop them. There was a time we were killing twins in some parts of Nigeria. Today we don't kill twins anymore. There are so many things we were doing before that we are not doing now. I think it takes some degree of statesmanship and understanding how to manage people and situations to navigate some of these sensitive issues. I don't think cattle should occupy the road in any city, not only in the FCT. I'm very conversant with the SVC. I know the place and the space very well. But, it's shameful that in a federal capital that sometimes vehicles will give right of way to cattle, basically because we think that that's the way it's been all this time. No, we should live by the rules. We actually have rules for managing road traffic in Nigeria. Beyond all this grammar we are speaking, it is not proper for people to just carry their livestock and then obstruct traffic. And we say, because they are cattle rearers, that's we'll just have to manage them. What I think...
Your account is too low for this call. Dial.
Apologies for that. We'll try as much as we can to get back to Mr. Larry Ogwego. So we're talking about the Minister of the FCT moving to end rearing of cattle within the capital city. I know that sometimes you'll be moving within the city and you see, patches of dung, cow dung, here and there, and you begin to have conversations about this is not even healthy for the roads themselves and your car, and some other conversations that you'd have concerning this particular issue. And the minister is saying that he will speak with stakeholders to ensure that this happens. Welcome back.
Yeah, so I think we need to get to that point where we remove that shame from Nigeria. It's not something we should be proud of. And I think Wike should handle it with some degree of maturity. This one is not something you do with a lot of noise, and because we know how sensitive we are as a people. That the Fulanis are this, the Southerners are that. We don't want to lead ourselves on the basis of what is right and wrong. Very often we polarize opinions on the basis of either religion or ethnicity. So Wike should just follow this thing professionally, and it should be attainable. I don't see why it shouldn't be attainable, so that we get to that point where if you want to bring your cattle into Abuja city, maybe you want to supply cattle or take it to an abattoir, you don't cause traffic jams because you're rearing cattle. I think it's a commendable move, but I think you should also manage it professionally, engage the right stakeholders, ensure that it not only stops, but it stops permanently, so that even when Wike leaves office, it shouldn't come back. We should create a new culture for managing this cattle business in the FCT and in every other capital, not only the FCT. It's not only in the FCT that cattle shouldn't be walking on the streets. It shouldn't happen in Enugu. It shouldn't happen in Lagos. It shouldn't happen in Port Harcourt. It shouldn't happen in Makurdi. It shouldn't happen in Jos. I mean, cities are cities. We should respect the fact that those roads are meant for vehicles, not for cattle.
All right, we're moving on to the power sector. In the FCT, we faced a lot of blackouts, a lot. I mean, I came to work today having not slept with light last night. At this point in time, Nigerians are wondering what exactly could be the problem. Yesterday, we got a report that some of the discos were rejecting supply of light that they were getting from the TCN. The TCN were saying that, we're supplying these guys light and they're refusing to distribute. Now we're seeing the federal government threatening to withdraw the operating licenses of power discos that were intentionally not supplying electricity to consumers across the country, which is leading to blackouts in Nigeria. What exactly could be the problem here? Because the issue of power in the FCT has never been this bad. It's never been this bad.
Well, a lot of things are not working in Nigeria at this time. That's just the truth. And the power is not an exception. We are in a very bad shape. Nothing appears to be working. And this power thing, a lot of people don't understand how complex the power equation is. Unfortunately, it's only the discos that we see. That's the guy who brings the power to the house, who gives me the meter and takes my money. And then I ask him and call him when there's no power. But there's the Gencos, that is the people who generate the power. Then there's the transmission company, and then there's the distribution company. When the companies that generate power transmit power through the transmission companies to the discos, they have to pay for the power. That is number one. And you see, the whole situation is so complex that the discos are complaining that they have challenges with even recovering their money. We live in a country where government does not pay power bills. I don't understand how people who buy vehicles 160 million naira a piece cannot pay for power. And then you are threatening to withdraw the license of discos. While I'm not holding brief for discos because I'm also a victim of their recklessness. I'm a victim of so many things they do wrong. Like you wake up on a good day, they refuse to give you a meter and they bill you arbitrarily. They have their own issues. But a situation where you also refuse to pay them and you want them to give you power, I don't know how they will pay for the power. Most Nigerians don't know that discos actually buy the power from the Gencos. They pay bills and then they sell. They are basically traders who maintain infrastructure, that is power infrastructure, distribution infrastructure. So they buy the energy, they maintain their distribution infrastructure, then they sell to us. And the sad thing is that the people who should pay them the bulk money are the people who refuse to pay. That is what I call share refusal. That you don't explain it away because you can't understand how people who spend so much money on vehicles and travel and jamborees can not afford to pay their bills. So we need to sit down and have a proper conversation around this power conundrum. We need to begin to ask ourselves real questions. We need to also begin to look at the effect of foreign exchange on power because the Gencos use gas to generate the power, like Gregu and all of those gas-powered plants. and gas is denominated in dollars. So we have a complex situation, and people are not coming to sit down to have conversations. But the one I find annoying is that very many government agencies and institutions refuse to pay power bills, yet they threaten people with withdrawal of licenses. You don't have the moral grounds to threaten me that you withdraw my license if you have not paid me my money. I need money to run the system. But on the other hand, the disco should also sit up. There's plenty of corruption in that sector. There are some things I don't want to begin to talk about because we don't have all the time in the world. Even the citizens are part of the problem. Our people steal power. That's outright stealing. That is, they steal power. You see, decent Nigerians bypass their meter in the night. That is, people call electrical engineers just to bypass their meter so they don't pay for power. What kind of people are we? And then you want the power. So there are issues that we must resolve. We must sit down on the table and decide to behave properly. There are so many issues. People still using incandescent bulbs. Why shouldn't we just all move to energy bulbs? We will save so much power if we make it a rule in Nigeria, legislate on it. We don't want incandescent bulbs again. Everybody must use energy bulb. We can reform this power sector, but the truth is that we are being very arbitrary about it, and we are all paying. We are all paying.
All right. At this point, we're moving on to Benue, and I just had to bring this up because we're seeing some drama playing out in Benue State. A traditional ruler in the area, there was an attack on a village yesterday, and 30 people ended up being killed in this fresh attack. According to the traditional ruler in the area, he said that that this issue started on Tuesday morning. A Tiv militia leader in a particular area kidnapped another Fulani militia leader, identified as Alhaji Ghana. They said that Ghana was kidnapped alongside his family by the other neighboring gang, in Taraba State. He now said after they kidnapped him, he asked for 100 million naira ransom, but he was given 5 million. And after collecting the money, he killed the hostages. That is now what sparked the outrage among his gang members in Taraba State, and before we knew it, they now came together and had a clash. Now, this issue of kidnapping, should we not be taking it a lot more seriously? Because you have a situation where these gang individuals, there were 30 persons. 12 out of the 30 were innocent farmers who were caught in the crossfire, who knew nothing about the kidnappings in the first place. Should we not be focusing on how to end this issue of kidnapping? We saw that in the south, especially with the militants and all that, and they were smart enough to quell that situation right there. But now it has become a very, very lucrative business. Should we not find a way to ensure that it is gone?
We should find a way. It's an obvious answer. I mean, it doesn't make sense, but what beats my imagination is that it's so bad now that kidnapping kingpins also kidnapping kingpins and asking for ransom. So that tells you how bad it has become. So there's no boundary now. So, armed robbers also rob armed robbers. It's that bad. But what it brings to mind is the fact that our government has become powerless. We have reached a stage where two different militia factions are fighting a war, as it were, and the government is standing by and watching. And they're not only killing themselves, which is illegal in Nigeria. The fact that they want to fight doesn't mean they have the right to kill themselves. In Nigeria, if you kill anybody, if you kill an armed robber, actually, an armed robbery suspect rather, it's a crime. You can only kill a person in a manner that is prescribed by law. Having said that, we live in a country where these militia men fight themselves, and we are watching. And then the stray bullets also kill some of us, and we are just watching. What it means is that the state has lost its monopoly of violence. And when we get to that point where the state has lost the monopoly of violence, what will happen is that after some time, people will become emboldened enough to challenge the state. It happened in Nigeria some time ago, where some people actually went and mounted flags in some local government areas in Nigeria. We are also not unaware of what is happening in Haiti today, where because the bandits are so emboldened, they have challenged the government. They are telling Mr. President, the president of Haiti, not to come back to the country. They are trying to take the airport and seize it and say, Mr. President, you must resign. We don't want you here. When we allow non-state actors to wield so much power and have so much control over territories and demonstrate their capacity to cow both the people and the authorities into silence, then what will happen is that one day they will begin to make demands on us that we will not be able to give them. I think this is the best time for government to sit down and think and solve these problems. I'll be honest with you, these problems are not intractable. We have people who have the solutions. But one of the greatest problems we have in Nigeria is corruption. People are benefiting from this whole madness, this whole chaos. There is something that is called the business of war. Anytime there is a war, the people who supply the ammunition, the people who supply the weapons benefit. There is what we call a war economy. So Nigerians seem to be benefiting so much from the madness. What I mean by Nigeria, I don't mean people like me and you. I mean the people up there appear to be benefiting politically, some are benefiting financially to the extent that they don't really understand what is happening to the rest of us. And they're reasonably protected because they don't have to pass those roads where people are kidnapped. They fly planes or helicopters because they don't have to be exposed to the risk we're exposed to. They don't fully understand the implications of what they're doing. Can we stop these things? Yes. Yes, if you go to countries like Colombia, I mean, they have been able to pull themselves out of this kind of situation. So can we stop it? Yes. But can we stop it to our present attitude to leadership? No. We have to do better. We have to sit down and plan how to stop them. We shouldn't allow them to attack us and then we respond. We don't even respond. We react. No, we need to get to that point where we gather intelligence. We don't need much intelligence. Every bush in Nigeria is owned by somebody, and the people know when a stranger is there. And they even tell us, you remember the last killing in Plateau State? They said that they actually said they were coming. And they told the security agents that they said they are coming. And nothing happened. So I think we need to have the political will to do this thing, to stop this madness. And beyond the political will, we need to stop benefiting from this war economy. We need to sit down and remind ourselves that we will benefit more, life will be more enjoyable when we create a genuine economy where there will be prosperity for all, rather than a very strange system where very few persons benefit from something that costs all of us our lives and our economy. We can do it, but the question is, do we have the political leaders who have the guts to stop the cycle of personal benefit and face our common enemies? I don't think we have them yet. That's the truth. That's the problem we have. We don't have leaders who are willing to sit down and fight for the people. Not just yet. But if God will help us, I'm sure even God will be exasperated with Nigerians. But I will still call God. So if God will help us and these men will begin to think differently, we can do it. I mean, these are few rascals in the bush. We can take them out. But we need to have the political way to take them out. Even the military, sorry, I need to say this. The military at some point said clearly that if we are asked to move them out of the forest, we'll do so. And I ask, so who is stopping you from moving them? There are so many political questions for us to answer. There are so many personal benefit questions for us to answer. When we answer these questions sincerely, then we'll go and move them out and retake our nation.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Larry, for joining us this morning.
Yeah, it's a privilege and an honor to be part of these conversations. I hope that the country is listening. I hope that our leaders are listening. But most importantly, I hope that the citizens who bear the brunt of bad governance are also listening.
All right. Thank you so much and have yourself a wonderful day.
You too.
All right, to you listening, thank you so much for being a part of the show this morning. Join us tomorrow for another exciting edition of the program. This is Front Page Review. If you're just tuning in, you're welcome to join us and make it a date with us tomorrow, 7:15 a.m. sharp. We start with Who Said What. We check out some of the trending stories and some of the individuals who made a statement because of that particular news. So join us tomorrow at 7:15 a.m. right down to 8:30. My name is Gesire Agua. Good morning to you and thank you so much for joining us. Coming up at 8:30 is Sports Bit. Keep it locked.
Voice of the people.